everyone, welcome back to MakerGirl's online curriculum. This week our theme is Passion for Fashion and showing you how the fashion industry uses 3D printing. So to start, on your worksheets you'll have what STEM stands for, what the S, T, E, and M in STEM stand for. Now we usually talk about this every week, but we really want to instill what the meaning behind this acronym is. S stands for science, T stands for technology, E stands for engineering, and M stands for math. Is that what you guessed? If so, make sure to change any incorrect answers on your worksheet below and make sure it has science, technology, engineering, and math to remind you later. Next, we're going to talk about 3D printing and fashion and how fashion industry uses 3D printing.
My name is Danit Peleg. I've just graduated from Shankar College of Design. I wanted to create a ready-to-wear collection printed entirely at home, using printers that anyone can get. I've spent the past year searching for the best solution. I worked with leading experts in the field. I really like the result. It looks a little bit like lace. And it moves beautifully.
So these two videos show different ways that the fashion industry has been able to use 3D printing. In the first video, we saw how a designer created a whole collection out of 3D printed clothing. You can see that it was very flexible. It moved kind of like how she said with lace. And in the second video, we saw a creation of a teddy bear, kind of that layer by layer printing that we've been talking about in our other online curriculum. So now we're going to move on to creating our own prints. So now you're going to take some time to think about what you would want to design. Did either of those videos give you any inspiration on what you wanted to create today? Draw out your idea on the piece of paper on the page of the worksheet that says brainstorming at the top. You should try to think of something that you could make it fashion related, whether you want to make a piece of jewelry or you want to make clothes for your dolls, whatever you're feeling. Definitely think about how those two videos inspired you to create what you want to make in this activity. Now we're going to take a little pause, so feel free to stop this video and really think about what you want to design today. Sketch it out on your brainstorming sheet. When you think you've completed your brainstorm and what your design will be, feel free to restart this video as we'll jump into what Tinkercad looks like. Now that you're done brainstorming your idea and have a sketch of it laid out, look at your sketch. Think about what shapes that you could use to make your design. Like we've talked about with Tinkercad, our Tinkercad workspace is the light blue box that's displayed when you first open Tinkercad and create a new 3D design. It's a blank work plane that you can use to build your design the entire time while on Tinkercad. On the right-hand side, there will be a different amount of shapes, whether it's a box, a cylinder, or the scribble shape. You can also use this drop down to find more shapes as well. The basic shapes usually work the best and are great for beginners. If you have been using Tinkercad and want a little bit more advanced, feel free to use the drop down to find more advanced items to use in your design. Something that I really love is the scribble feature. If you drag it out and drop it, you can create your own design. This might be very helpful for this activity as you might not be able to find the exact shapes that you want to use, but definitely get creative with manipulating different boxes, cylinders, spheres, cones. As you scroll down, you'll see more shapes into what you want to create. You want to remember a few things. Everything in your design has to be on this blue work plane. Anything in the background of space should be deleted by selecting that object and hitting the trash can. If something's out in the background, the 3D printer will start to read it, but won't be able to see it, and your design may get messed up. And don't worry about the colors of the shapes. Our printers only print in one color, and so you don't have to worry about it being a red box or an orange box because it matters more about what filament is in the printer rather than what the color of the shapes on the screen are. And if you need more help, we have linked down below our Tinkercad in-depth video. If this is your first time using MakerGirl online curriculum, we recommend walking through that video to become super comfortable with Tinkercad and answer any of the questions you may run into at the time. Again, there's a link below to ask any questions. If you get stuck along the way, feel free to drop a question there and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. Now pause this video and really work on your design. Think about what you want to create and take about 20 minutes to do so. If you really know what you want to create, feel free to try to bring it to life on Tinkercad, and then play the video when you're done creating. Have you finished your design? Great! Now let's look at how our 3D printer works. So we start with your design on Tinkercad, and once we have that design, we download it as an STL file and bring it into Cura. In Cura, we're able to manipulate your shapes a little bit smaller based on what the printer can print. Some prints can last 14 to 20 hours, but we usually in our sessions only have about 30 minutes. So we scale your print down to what it would look like during a session. We export it onto an SD card, which is right here. We insert that SD card onto our 3D printer. This is the front of one of our 3D printers. So we insert the SD card, we select print, and we go and find the name of your print. We select that, and that's when our 3D printer gets going. So on the back of our 3D printer is a spool of filament. We use plastic right now. We thread that plastic up into our tube that goes into the print head. It takes a little bit for our printer to heat up, so this is what it looks like when we hit print and it's starting to heat up the printer. The nozzle gets so hot, up to 260 degrees Celsius, which could be as hot as your oven. So our number one rule during our sessions is that we look with our eyes, not with our hands. So definitely if you see a 3D printer, don't try to put your hands in it while it's printing. You definitely want to let it do its thing, watch with your eyes, and then watch your print come to life. This little print is showing how it makes the little Ultimaker robot. It prints layer by layer, so at first it doesn't look like the full robot, and your print sometimes doesn't look like it's full print. It kind of looks like how that teddy bear, where it was going layer by layer to build it up into what you created. And then we have your final project that we take off the build plate and give to you. On your worksheet, it asks how 3D printing works, so make sure that you write down 3 things you learned. Now on to our famous woman in STEM. Iris is the first designer to use 3D printing on the runway in 2012. Her piece, the crystallization, is shown below. It's this big necklace piece that she used using 3D printing. She continues to use 3D printing in her work and has her pieces in exhibits around the world. So we wanted to shout her out for being one of the first people to really mix designing with fashion and 3D printing. Now on to our activity. So we told you in this week's newsletter that we'd be using binary code to do our activity. But what binary code is how computers communicate and what they translate information. So on the right-hand side over here, we have the translation of each letter of the alphabet and what its binary code looks like. Computers transmit and store information by encoding it into combinations of digits, only 2 choices per spot. We will call them on and off. Take a second and try to figure out the binary code example below. It's similar to our example from our newsletter this week. Which letter do you think this is? And how do you know? First, start by looking at the first 4 to see which ones are on or off and what they look similarly to in our alphabet over here. If you see how it's on, off, on, it looks similarly to the first letters on this half. Then we have to figure out which letter it is by the last 4. The only letter it could be is K, as it goes off, on, off, just like our example. So the answer is the letter K. In our Changemaker activity of the week, we will be going through how to make your own binary code bracelet. So definitely make sure you save the middle page to go through that with our other Changemaker. Now that you've completed our session, you should share your Tinkercad design with your family. What did you create? What shapes did you use? And what did you brainstorm to make your idea come to life? Questions you should think about were, what was the hardest part of your design? And what was your favorite thing you learned about 3D printing today? And even tell them the link between 3D printing and the fashion industry. Thank you so much for coming to our session, and be sure to look out for the Changemaker activity of the week to make your own binary code bracelet. We'll see you next week. Bye!